what's going on, everybody? My name, of course, is Chad. And this week, we have something that's actually really unique and special to our resource review series. It's less a resource to learn Japanese and more of a resource for you to learn while you use Japanese. I know that sounds weird, but one Mani Baloney sent me this composition notebook that is on Amazon. She did not pay me for this review. She simply sent this to me and said, hey, maybe your fans might actually want to use it. And I saw it and I thought it was fascinating. And that's very interesting, and hey, if it supports someone that is a friend and fan of my channel that supports me, I think it's worth taking a look, don't you? So without further ado, let's jump into the hands-on reviewing table. How are you? Wow. Huh. Color me surprised. Hey, what's going up, everybody? Welcome back to the hands-on review table where I take a look at Furigana Composition Notebook. And actually, when I first got this thing, I've never heard of this, so I have no idea if this is something that is widely available or this is something that the person who made this actually made up. But this was sent as a gift for me from one Mani Baloney. Baloney? Baloney? Man, I'm gonna get all sorts of mean comments about my pronouncing this name. I'm so sorry, Mani, but thank you so much for this. As far as I can tell, and especially looking out here at the back, it actually has her name scribbled on the back there. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a little hard to see. But also on the back page of this, you can actually get custom notebooks from her for no extra price. So not only did she send this to me, this is her brand. This is her thing that she's doing. So I'm very thankful to Mani for sending me this. This means a tremendous amount. But real quick, let's take a look at what the Sam Hill is a Furigana composition notebook. When you open the book, it is entirely one format, so this will make this actually a pretty quick review, but let's look at how these pages are formatted. You might see on first glance, like, hey, what's different about this? But you should be able to notice, I'll use my handy dandy pen here, each solid block actually has a thinner line above it. So if you were to write something in it, say Kuchi, you can go Ku-chi. And now you guys are gonna see how terrible my handwriting is. This is why I don't handwrite, everybody. Anyways, you're able to see the difference. You can put the kanji you're gonna write underneath and the furigana on top. So why would this warrant you purchasing a notebook like this over, say, I'll just grab, this is just a generic notebook here that I have. Why would you do it over this? Well, the reason being is there's essentially two ways that you would format this in this book. So you would handwrite everything in example 1 right here. And then you would add the furigana above it right here in a much smaller capacity. But here's the thing, that doesn't use up this top half of the page. And you would only be writing every other one because you would always use this top space to be able to put furigana inside of it. Or the second way that you would do it is you would write very, very small. So you would write half of it in half of that blank and then the furigana on top of it here. But you can imagine after doing this a bunch, how full your pages would look as opposed to something that's neatly spaced. So you can do that. Mind you, when I was in Japan, this is actually how I had to do Japanese when I was there. Because when you first started beginner Japanese, they actually had you writing a lot, and that's before you get to the point where you're basically typing all your papers. And so I had to write a bunch, and a lot of my notes to this day, I go back and I'm like, man, I cannot read this at all. A, because my handwriting's terrible. B, because it's all so squished together. This book helps alleviate that problem. It gives you the space above kanji so that way you can actually read your notes again. So if you just write the kanji, a lot of time you'll come back and you won't remember which one that is. And so this will allow you to look back at your notes and you're actually able to read ones that you don't have memorized very well. The other thing is that it saves you space. So you're able to do twice as many lines as you would if you're doing the every other line method in a regular notebook, meaning that over the entirety of the book, technically you actually get more bang for your buck inside of one of these notebooks than you would in your traditional notebook if you're working with furigana. On top of that, you can see it's only a tiny bit shorter, but it is way more pages. This only has 70 pages, whereas this has, I don't even know, it's definitely 400 or 500 pages, something a lot higher. And this has a much thicker and nicer cover, which you guys saw when I threw it. It actually clings to the table compared to the slippery, gangly subject of the Pen Gear notebook. That being said, I personally probably wouldn't use this. I'm sure many of you guys know I famously never really learned to write Japanese, if you couldn't tell by how terrible my handwriting is. I don't really use my handwriting much in my native tongue. And when I was living in Japan, and now that I work from abroad, but even when I was working there, I never really wrote it. I mean, I think I had to a couple times at the bank and at the prefectural office. But I mean, I've been on and off living there. I'm almost 28 now, and I started when I was, 20? And I can count on one hand how many times I actually needed to write something. So it wasn't something I put a lot of time into. I learned how to read it, I learned how to type it, how to text it, and it has gotten me through everything I've needed to do up until now. So is this book for me? Personally, no. But in the same way that there are people out there that like to listen to vinyl, they like handwritten letters. They write letters to people. Maybe you just like the kanji so much that you want to learn to write them. You think they're beautiful. You want to learn how to do that yourself. Not necessarily for practicality, but because of its beauty, because of its history. This would be freaking awesome for you to learn in. The sheer amount of this, I mean, I can't even imagine how many books in Japanese, how many resources I would have to study to fill every single one of these pages. So I think for the price that this would cost, for that person, this would be a great Christmas gift, birthday gift, or maybe just a special personal gift for yourself. But that's just my opinions. I'm sure you guys are looking at this. You have an opinion. Be sure to leave that in the comment box down below. Let everyone know. Is this something that you would use? Is this something you'd recommend for anyone to use? Do you see any utility in this? Or is this something that you might fear sits on a shelf? Let's help the next generation of language learners make wiser decisions together. And with that, we head back to Studio Chad. Hey, thanks for sticking around for this short little review. I really appreciate people putting out stuff like this. I love when people get the initiative to try and contribute something that they want into the language space. Now, I don't do a ton of handwriting myself, but I know there's lots of people that really love journaling and writing their notes out instead of just typing it or texting it into a phone. So I wanted to give the analog learners something this week that maybe they want to buy for themselves or for a friend or family member for Christmas. So if you guys like this video, be sure to like it down below. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or compliments, feel free to leave them in the comment box down below. I do personally read all of them. If you would like to sponsor a resource review just like this, it's super easy to do. You can get a hold of me in the comments, on my Discord, at That's My Chad on Twitter, Chad Zimmerman basically everywhere else. Other than that, if you don't want to get in contact with me, I have an Amazon wishlist in my description. You could just add anything you want to that, buy it, and it'll ship straight to me. If you'd like to support this in some other way, you can like it down below. You can subscribe to my channel. That would mean a tremendous amount to me, and it helps my channel keep growing, keep showing YouTube that this is content people want to see. So that would mean a tremendous amount to me. And finally, if you would like to support me monetarily, I make my own books on Amazon all about language, culture, etc., etc. All of those for a reasonable fee, links in the description down below, as well as my Patreon and manga club. But that's enough self-promotion for now. Love hard, love deep, and I will see you all next week. Bye-bye.